Before we talk about January 1st, we must ask a deeper question. Why do humans feel the need to mark a new year at all? Why do we divide time into years, months, and days? And why does almost the entire modern world begin its year on the same date, January 1st, when ancient civilizations followed completely different calendars? The history of the new year is not a single invention. It is a long human story shaped by nature, survival, religion, politics, and power. Long before calendars existed, early humans lived entirely by natural cycles. They did not count years or name months. They observed the sky. The movement of the sun, the moon, and the stars determined everything, from food and migration to safety and survival. Time was not abstract. Time was life. Seasons decided when crops could be planted, when animals migrated, and when harsh weather would arrive. Missing these signals could mean starvation or death. As a result, humans became deeply sensitive to patterns in nature. The earliest idea of a new year was not about celebration or joy. It was about survival. The first known New Year celebrations appeared nearly 5,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia, in the region between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. These people depended completely on agriculture, and for them the most important moment of the year was spring, when rivers flooded, soil became fertile, and life returned. Around 2000 BCE, the Babylonians celebrated a festival called Akitu. This festival marked the beginning of the agricultural year and was held around the spring equinox, when day and night were nearly equal. Akitu lasted for more than 10 days and involved rituals, prayers, and symbolic ceremonies meant to ensure prosperity and divine favor for the coming year. For the Babylonians, the new year was not just a date change, it was a cosmic reset. Kings renewed their loyalty to the gods, priests reenacted creation myths, and people believed the fate of the coming year was decided during this time. This idea, that a new year represents renewal, judgment, and rebirth, would echo through history. Other ancient civilizations developed their own New Year traditions, all closely tied to nature. In ancient Egypt, the New Year began with the flooding of the Nile. When the star Sirius rose just before sunrise, it signaled the flood that made agriculture possible. This event marked the beginning of the Egyptian year. Again, the New Year was not chosen arbitrarily. It followed nature. In ancient China, the New Year followed the lunar calendar, beginning with the first new moon of the year, usually between late January and February. It symbolized renewal, family unity, and balance between heaven and earth. Even today, Chinese New Year follows this ancient system. In ancient India, different regions marked the New Year at different times, often linked to harvest cycles or solar transitions. Ugadi, Gudi Padwa, Vishu, and other regional New Years reflect this diversity. Across the ancient world, one pattern is clear. The New Year originally began when life began again. Spring, harvest, flood, renewal. Not January. So how did January 1st become the New Year? To answer that, we must turn to ancient Rome. Early Roman calendars were chaotic. The earliest Roman calendar had only 10 months and began in March. March was named after Mars, the god of war, because spring marked the start of farming, military campaigns, and political activity. That is why months like September, October, November, and December still carry names meaning 7, 8, 9, and 10, even though they are now the 9th through 12th months. January and February were later additions. January was named after Janus, a uniquely Roman god associated with doorways, transitions, beginnings, and endings. Janus was depicted with two faces, one looking backward into the past, and one looking forward into the future. Symbolically, January represented reflection and anticipation. Even so, the Roman year still officially began in March. That changed due to politics. In 153 BCE, Rome faced military emergencies that required newly elected officials to take office earlier. To solve this, Rome moved the start of the political year to January 1st. This decision was practical, not philosophical. Over time, however, this administrative change influenced how Romans thought about the year itself. The Roman calendar remained inconsistent until the intervention of Julius Caesar. In 46 BCE, Julius Caesar introduced the Julian calendar after consulting astronomers. This calendar fixed the length of the year at 365 days, with a leap year every 4 years. Most importantly, it officially established January 1st as the beginning of the year. For the first time, the new year had a fixed empire-wide starting point. But the story did not end there. When Christianity spread across Europe, early Christians viewed January 1st with suspicion. It was associated with Roman gods, feasting, and pagan excess. For centuries, Christians celebrated the new year on different dates: March 25th, Easter, or December 25th. As a result, medieval Europe had no single New Year's Day. Different regions began the year on different dates, creating confusion in trade, taxation, legal contracts, and historical records. Eventually, uniformity became unavoidable. In 1582, Pope Gregory XIII introduced the Gregorian calendar. The Julian calendar had a small error that caused seasons to drift over time. The Gregorian calendar corrected this by adjusting leap years and realigning the calendar with the solar year. It also reaffirmed January 1st as the official start of the year. Catholic countries adopted it quickly. Protestant countries resisted at first, seeing it as a Catholic reform. But practicality won. Over the next few centuries, the Gregorian calendar spread across the world through trade, colonization, science, and global administration. By the modern era, January 1st had become the global New Year. But why does it feel meaningful? Why do people make resolutions? Why does midnight feel like a turning point? The answer lies in human psychology. Humans seek structure. A clearly defined beginning provides emotional relief. Even though nothing physically changes at midnight, the mind perceives a boundary, and that perception is powerful. New Year's resolutions are modern echoes of ancient renewal rituals. Promises once made to gods became promises made to oneself. Fireworks echo ancient fire rituals meant to chase away darkness and evil. Feasting mirrors ancient communal survival meals. Counting down to midnight reflects humanity's long obsession with marking transitions in time. January 1st itself is not sacred by nature. It is sacred by agreement. It represents humanity's attempt to organize time, impose meaning, and find hope in cycles. So when the calendar turns to January 1st, we are not just changing a date. We are participating in a tradition nearly 5,000 years old, a tradition shaped by farmers, priests, emperors, astronomers, and reformers. A tradition born from fear of chaos and the desire for renewal. And that is the true history behind New Year. Not fireworks, not resolutions, but humanity's endless desire to begin again. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, subscribe for more untold stories hidden behind traditions. Because history isn't just about the past. It's about understanding who we are today.